You know, sometimes people make bad choices. They damage other people's stuff, and when the system works right, well, they're held accountable. But you may have noticed in the recent years the system does not always work right, which brings us to a repeat rock thrower in Gresham, a man charged with breaking windows in at least 11 businesses. That's our big story tonight. The accused rock thrower, not exactly a criminal mastermind. Gresham police caught him 4 different times. Yeah, he's accused of throwing rocks through business windows in downtown Gresham 4 different times over the span of just 8 days. 3 of the 4 times he was arrested, he was taken to jail. But listen to this, he got out quickly. He was probably back in Gresham faster than the officers who had to drive him to Portland for the booking. More on that in a moment. But first, let's take a look at the damage. This is the historic part of downtown Gresham, the latest target of the rock attacks, which happened twice on the 4th of July. Again, at least 11 businesses had windows broken in the attacks over 8 days. The president of the Business Association said the targets are not giant corporations.
Most of the businesses that were affected are family owned, and so the difference between something that's unforeseen, such as this circumstance, can mean the difference between a positive and a negative month for them. So it directly affects our owners and our community.
Dan Anderson is one of those business owners. He's had Anderson Martial Arts here for 38 years. 3 rocks flew through his windows.
Yeah. We have all 3 rocks.
And absolutely for our businesses, it's frustrating because you can't help but wonder if he were to have remained in jail, if some of these things could have been prevented.
You know, if I were in charge of the jail, the key would be in the Willamette River somewhere.
So you know how he feels about that. We also found damage at Barley Sprout Pizza. Owner Dave Schonk said the shattered window there will likely cost him $1,000 or more. He said he hopes the rock thrower gets the help that he needs, and he wanted to thank the community.
There's been a lot of support from people around reaching out and trying to help us, so appreciate that.
It is wonderful indeed when friends and strangers show up to help after something like that. Too bad it's needed. Now let's turn our focus to the court system and take a closer look at the alleged rock thrower's brief visits to jail. According to the Multnomah County's District Attorney's Office, the rock thrower was first arrested June 27th for breaking windows in the 900 block of Northeast Hogan Drive. He was given a criminal citation but not booked into jail. Then 2 days later, on June 29th, Gresham police arrested him again, this time for breaking windows in the 1600 block of Northeast Division. And this time he was taken to jail, but was released 2.5 hours later without conditions before he was arraigned. The DA's office said that release happened as part of the operating rules set up by the court's presiding judge. Those rules were required after the passage of Senate Bill 48 as part of a statewide effort to reduce the use of bail to hold defendants. The DA's office also said the court's risk assessment tool deemed the rock thrower a low risk in failing to appear for his court dates and a low risk to reoffend. I should mention the court's public information officer emailed me saying that it's not the court's risk assessment tool, but rather a tool agreed to by the DA's office and others in the system. Either way, guess what? It was wrong about our rock thrower. He did fail to appear, and he was charged with breaking more windows. On July 4th at 2:25 in the morning, witnesses called 911 after seeing the same guy breaking windows in several businesses in downtown Gresham. He was arrested and charged with multiple counts of criminal mischief and booked into jail. But then, just 5 hours later, he was released because he was deemed a low risk under that same order from the presiding judge. Come on. About 12 hours later on the same day, 4th of July, Gresham police arrested him again, this time for breaking windows at the business on East Powell Boulevard. This time, it actually looks like maybe he was going to be held. The court's offender risk score still showed that now he should be released. But a different presiding judge's order overrode that. That order says that defendants charged with 3 property crimes or more can be held until their arraignment. This was his 4th arrest for a property crime, so case closed, right? Not exactly. Turns out there's a shortage of public defense attorneys these days. I know you've heard that. It's true. The court could not find our rock thrower an attorney, and so Yes, he was released without supervision or bail and is, well, who knows where he is tonight. And that is a big problem. So here's my opinion on this. How many windows does it take? How many? I suspect a number of business owners in downtown Portland have wondered that themselves over the last few years. But tonight, we're talking about Gresham and a system that is seriously broken. In my opinion, there's no good reason for that person to be out on the streets tonight. He should have been locked up somewhere, either getting a mental health evaluation if that's the issue, or sitting in a jail cell to think about what he'd done. And the fact that he's somewhere out there tonight on his own, free to do whatever he wants, that is astounding to me. Do we really have to wait and wonder what's going to happen next? And I know, some of you might say, look, in the big scheme of things, breaking windows is not the end of the world, and this person has rights that should be protected. Okay, but what about the rights of the business owners in Gresham? What about the small business owners that sweat and worry and work hard to make a profit? What about them? What about their rights? The reason we're highlighting this case is because it points to a flaw in the criminal justice system. It's broken. It should not be so inflexible and one size fits all. It should be intelligent so that someone like this can be held after the second arrest, not released every single time, including after the fourth arrest. Come on. I often hear from viewers that you are fed up with crime, and I'm with you. Many of you think the system is broken or overwhelmed or both. It needs to change. Sadly, this is one more example that you are not wrong. And that's too bad. At least that's my opinion. You don't have to agree with me, but you do have to share yours. Email us, will you? Let me know what you think. The address is thestory@kgw.com, or call and leave a voicemail. The number is 503-226-5090. I really look forward to hearing from you.